Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. If you can hear me, you give me a 1. Right on. Right on. What's happening, D Nice? What's up, Flex? Ricochet, how you been? 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna give it just a couple of seconds here. We're gonna get rolling. Try to get something together. Right on. Like they say, stay between them white lines. Got another homeboy that's a trucker. Big Brad. Okay. Make sure I got this thing in focus. Let's see. Peace, Lady Al. My camera tripping. There we go. There we go. All right. It's an impromptu live broadcast. Y'all excuse my appearance. I know I'm looking like a homeless person. I'm scheduled to go to see my barber tomorrow, but I wanted to do this today, though. I've been working on some things in the midst of all the drama that's been going on. And I just want to come on here and share what I've been doing. So the title of this, I think I put up, The World to Come. Thank you, Flex. I titled this The World to Come. So I've been working on a little booklet, okay? And this is produced all in-house, you know. So it doesn't have the polish of my other book, The Lies Behind the Ties. But I don't think the people who rock with me, I don't think they're worried so much about the glitz and glamour. They want to get down to the brass tacks. What's being served on the buffet, right? So this is the cover for the book or booklet. What's up, Straight Panther? Glad everybody stopped in. Good to have everybody on. This is 2020 and the World to Come. Subtitle, What is the Meaning of Life? And I know that sounds like just a cliche question, you know, it sounds like that philosophical question where it's some people sitting around at Starbucks and, you know, pontificating and philosophizing, what's the meaning of life? But I had an interesting interaction before all of this started at the barbershop one Saturday. And they were going on and on about Dwayne Wade and his thing with his son and blah blah blah. And then the conversation ended up going the direction of, you know, we don't support each other, we don't work together, crab in the, just basic, just same old stuff you hear all the time, just the epitome of a broken record. And I posed the question, and it just so happened it was 5 people in the barbershop, which that's significant. And I asked each person, well, before we make these blanket statements, well, what is life anyway? What does it mean to everybody? And it was crickets in the barbershop, with all the stuff going on now. When this stuff first really started, the attitudes and activities of people continue to amaze me, whether it's in the little area that I live in, or just on the internet. It's unbelievable. It's like whatever you are, it's really, really hard to hide it now. But this little booklet is, I can't even really describe what's in it. It's a whole new perspective or way life is enjoying right on. The Lady Al said, life is enjoying my children and grandchildren. Right on. Peace, Swords Witch. We got Zeta 9 in the house. Peace, Sister Zeta. What you think about the talk about December 21st? All I can say about that is air. That's what that represents, air. And D Nice is pretty much summed up in this little booklet. I'm gonna say this: the Bible, if I dare mention that, but the Bible, to me, was written to end with the sign of Aquarius. Just think about this. When we look at the tree of life, the 4th world is Asaya, and it's the world to come, okay? The Bible, when it gets to the New Testament, the last that play, how it ends, is all Aquarian. It's Aquarian. It says, when you find a man with the water pitcher, follow him into the house. Okay? The book ends with Revelations. So D Nice asked about December 21st. Well, December 21st, we're going to have Saturn and Jupiter preparing to shift into Aquarius. Okay? Will have come out of the parenting, the restriction, the governance, the stuckedness, and I'm just going to make up a word, the stuckedness of Capricorn, and they go into Aquarius. But as we've seen, as these planets have been sitting inside of Capricorn, we've seen revelation on top of revelation. What's up, Legendary? So if you juxtapose that with the Bible ending with revelation, okay, and then you go into the concept of an antichrist. And I ain't trying to get into my Oral Roberts and no fire and brimstone preaching type stuff. I'm talking metaphysics. I'm talking astrology. And we're talking eschatology. Eschatology, end time events. But of what time? Of an era. Okay? And the book to me was written to bring us up to the end of the Piscean era and to usher into Aquarius. And it warns of an antichrist. Now, there's all types of theories on this antichrist. Here's mine. If you've done your studies, you know that Christ is Kodest, okay? This is 101. Kodest. Kodest is Christos. Kodest is Messiah. Kodest is Krishna, okay? But it's also talking about an oil. Now, the oil is not some preacher coming and putting some olive oil from Kroger on your forehead. The oil is symbolic of a flowing of understanding, not of just knowledge, but understanding of the knowledge with and an understanding that causes an internal that oozes out to your external world transformation. Okay, this is 101. I know all of y'all, you know, I talk to a learned audience, so I don't never have to talk down. So, but this is just in case somebody stumbles in and don't know. Okay, the return of Christ or revelation is an internal happening. Okay, so based on my little humble definition of that, the Antichrist is anything that is outside of you and I that, whether directly or indirectly, proposes or suggests itself to be messianic, suggests itself to be the chosen one, suggests itself to be a savior. Anything or any thought process, any movement outside of this internal happening is the Antichrist to me. And if you look just around, just in the world surrounding, you see this unfolding in multiple ways. It's a quantum unfolding of the Antichrist. And see, the Antichrist is not a person. Okay? It's not even one faction. It's a mind state. It's an acute narcissism. It is vampiric in that, like they say in the movie Tombstone, Doc Holliday said, it got a great big old hole in them, and it just, you know, it can never fill it. You know, it's that. So the Bible is an occult book, first and foremost. It is a revelatory book. It's an onion that has to be peeled. The story of the birth of Christ is a now time future story. Future as in now. Okay? And as much as we might want to dismiss the idea of parenthood, what this is coming down to is parenting. Because your soul, my soul, which is part of a fractals of this gigantic, unexplainable something, it is metaphorically a child. I know you all know this. I'm just reiterating. Your human existence is metaphorically the parenting of the child. Your human existence, all this stuff that we're going through, da 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 da, whatever you want to, it is the parenting of the child. It's the birth and cultivation. So when you hear the story in the Bible about King Herod searching for the Christ child, it is now. So, because this might just seem like some rambling. This might seem like some rambling. I want to read something. This is going to be an addendum that I'm adding to this booklet. And let me show you this house. So what I'm doing is I got me a binding machine. And so this is you're just gonna get an old school. I gave away my first copy that I had made. I gave it away. I don't have one bound, but this is all done in-house. Let me show you this. For those y'all may not have ever seen this old school binding machine. My first real job was at a printing press. I worked in the bindery department. So what I do is I'm going ahead and punch, and you know the old school ring binders. So it's gonna be a little booklet. Okay. I want to read this addendum that's gonna be in this. Y'all bear with me. It's 2,800 words, but I just want you to hear it, and then I want you to read it for yourself. In the organized religion of Christianity, Jesus Christ as the quote Son of God is looked upon in a deific manner. The followers of the religion encourage non-believers and so-called quote lost sheep to accept the Christ figure as their quote Lord and Savior. In accordance with such scriptures as Matthew 6:33 and Luke 17:21, initially instructing the reader to quote seek the kingdom of God end quote, and then revealing that the quote kingdom of God is within end quote, it becomes obvious that the following of Christ is not meant to be an outwardly directed activity. Instead, it requires a turn inward. Christ is also referred to as the Mashiach, a term that means anointed. In ancient Egypt, the same Christ originated as the Christ, which referenced a spiritual state and attainment. A remnant of this idea is preserved in the Hebrew word Mashiach, anointed, and the Greek Christos, which also means anointed. Why do both words which reference Christ align with the concept of anointing, which is something that is done with oil? Turns out that when one attains a certain level of enlightenment, there is an internal oil that flows called colostrum. This requires an entirely separate discussion to flesh out. At the moment, though, what is most important is the association of this state with Christ, or what Christians call the quote unquote return of Christ or revelation. If Christ is the realization of a state that can be achieved by all humans who do the work to attain it, then what purpose do the parents play? So I want you to lock in. Because I got 4 children. So, I don't have the luxury of, trying to find myself every day. I'm in the trenches, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. You either got children, like Lady Al say, children, grandchildren. This addendum is about parenting, but check this out. Even if you don't have children, you still are parenting. Like I said, you're parenting your own soul, which your soul is this little baby Christ, right? So check this out. Listen, if Christ is the realization of a state that can be achieved by all humans who do the work to attain it, then what purpose do the parents play in the biblical accounts of Christ's life? To me, it means that humans, when on the path to realizing their internal Christ, are taking on the metaphysical role of being parents. Although Christ as an essence or flame is timeless without beginning or end, in order for it to be realized, there must first be involvement, but in what? In life, humanity itself. Now I know that might not go over well, but this is why I created this whole series. You got to see these. Look at these things. Esoteric exploration of fire. Excuse me, it's backwards when I look at it on my camera. Here's this one. The mysteries of the number 5. The tree in life. Then I got one on hidden astrology, hidden astrological etymology and symbology. Then this one, this is the granddaddy, etymology, master key to the mysteries of it all. All of these things, believe it or not, are all directed at answering the question of what is life, including this booklet. Because life, we have maybe condensed it and maybe through semantics, we have relegated it to some super mundane activity, and it's not. But I'm getting ahead. I'm gonna come back to this. Okay. I said, in order for it to be realized, there must first be involvement, but in what? In life, humanity itself. How so, you may ask? The answer is contained within the symbolism of the cross itself, which doesn't originate with the Christian religion, which you all know this. Just stay with me. Simply put, the cross represents in one manner the crossing of spirit, fire into matter, water, which embodies the idea of unity between masculine and feminine. For a deeper explanation of this concept, study the other sections of this booklet. This explains, let's dig in on this. This explains why the parents of the mythical Christ are given the names of Joseph and Mary. That's who you and I are. Joseph and Mary. Okay? So check this out. The name Joseph traces back to the Greek koporos, which means gardener. The gardener plants the seed and then tends to it, focusing attention on growing the seed into a healthy plant/crop. Furthermore, the science embodied in the name Mary is represented in the Kabbalistic tree of life. First of all, the word Kabbalah means to receive. You all know that. The concept of reception is itself a word that is feminine in nature. When we look deeper into the tree of life, we see that each sephira is called an emanation. Each sephira is called an emanation. What's up, Ultra Instinct? The latter word derives from the roots mano and miro. Dig your ears in a little closer. Here is what each root means. The root mano, damp, which gives us the Latin emanate. In Germanic, it becomes more. M-O-O-R. The emanations on the tree of life, which coincide with Mary, each emanation is a state of Mary. They are states of mores. Okay. The second root, miro, large body of water, where we get the Latin mare. which Mary is Mary, maritime. Okay, y'all know all this stuff. Let's keep going. The name Mary is naturally feminine as it coincides with water. Thus, we have the two most important components for life to emerge and to be sustained: fire and water. In their denser forms, the two create the solidity of earth, while on the other end of the spectrum, in a far less dense capacity, they express as the elements of air. In each of our journeys, as we are individual souls, we are charged with the task of taking on the dual roles of being Joseph and Mary, which is what is referred to as the Hieros Gamos. However, in the physical and tangible world, man and woman unite to act as parents. The child, or Chaldean, which means astrologer, which means light, decoder, or worker, holding the potentiality of becoming the Christos Christ. Okay. Delving deeper into the tree of life, we find the middle pillar is the dwelling place of Christ, encased in the tetragrammaton Yod He Vahe. Thus, it could be argued that the higher expression of the front side of the tree of life is the birth and cultivation of the Christ energy. This leads us full circle back to parenting. Mary is the water that expresses the primal essence in 10 different states. There are 10 Sephirah on the tree of life. Joseph is the will and action necessary to cultivate these archetypal energies into an oil, chrism, a Messiah anointing. Now, this next section is called an etymological breakdown of the word parent. And really, this is what you really just need to read this for yourself. But is this boring, y'all? Y'all let me know. You want me to keep going? You want me to keep reading this? Or is this hard? Is this hard to digest? It's going to be available for everybody to get your own. But I wanted to read this. Somebody let me know. Let me know. You want to keep going? Okay, Swords Witch said go ahead. All right. Etymological breakdown of the word parent. There are a few ways we can approach the word parent, all of them being valid. For starters, notice from this perspective, and you have to see where I got it written, but I'm highlighting pair and rent. The prefix of pair means first, while rent means to tear apart. Thus, the parent in relation to the child is the first to be torn apart from the all. From another perspective, the prefix par represents both fruit, pear, and fire, peer, as in pyr, as they both share the consonant root of pr. Now, make sure that you understand this, because it's hard to. Pear has two vowels in the middle, E and R. You remove those, you have PR. Pyre or peer, as in pyramid, which means fire, has PYR. The Y can sometimes be expressed as a vowel. We can pull that out and we're left again with the consonants PR, which means they have the same numeric value and i.e. vibration. The fruit, which is pear, is the same as the pyre, which is fire. Okay? Okay, combining either root with rent, we are left with a reference to the first fruit or the first spark. If you look at an image of a pear and a flame, they even share resemblance as shown below. You know what? I think I got a copy. I think I got a copy of this thing I print out, a rough draft. I want you to see this. Look at a pear. See, everything is everything. Look at that pear and look at this image of a flame. Do they not look the same? Look at that. That's why they are expressed as the same root, PR. The fruit is the fire. So when Adam and Eve take the bite of the fruit, they're taking the bite of the fire, which juxtaposes that story with Prometheus stealing fire from the gods. Same thing. Same thing. Interestingly, the Hebrew rendering of the act of Adam and Eve eating from the forbidden tree is peresh yod, literal translation, mouth, head, hand. We find embodied within that statement a reference to both the fruit, peh, eaten by the mouth, fire, which is yod, the flame of knowledge that links the hand to the mind. How can the hand and mind be linked? I've done this in other videos. We talked about just the basic word conception, or what's another word? Grasp. The word grasp means know. Know means to grasp with the hand is to know it. But we also say, are you grasping what I'm saying? That means are you understanding mentally? So you see that though the hand and the mind always are going back and forth, okay? Physical grasp, this is the abstract grasping. That's why yod applies to the hand and to the head. Peresh yod. Okay. Thus, Adam and Eve are the same characters as Joseph and Mary. Both couples charged with the job of developing the light of Christ. Continuing with the etymological breakdown of parent, it traces back to the Latin perere, to procure, hence produce young, akin to Latin perere, to procure, to prepare. Old English, fear, which that's the Old English spelling of fear is F-E-A-R-R. Let me give you a little secret about language. Peace, Tarza. Did I miss anybody? Peace, Cam. Go SETI, God Science. Okay. Just like when you study astrology, a sign has a higher expression and it has a shadow side. Okay. Or in metaphysics, we have the exoteric and the esoteric, okay? The front and the behind. Language shows the same thing. When people start studying etymology, they have a tendency to say that connotative linguistics needs to be thrown out. Let me show you why it has its place. Let me explain connotative first. Etymology deals with denotative, denoting, which deals with derivation. What's the root? Where is it? Who the mama? What's the DNA of the word? Okay, that's etymology. That's denotative. Connotative means how is the word used? What's the present understanding or the consensus on how the word is being used? From a consensus point, fear is used as a negative word, okay? But every word has a front and a back. Sometimes it can have several faces to it, okay? The Libra, what you're going to learn when you get the thing on astrology, you're going to learn that when you study about Libra, something you probably never heard of, Libra means fear. That's part of the meaning of fear. But fear is not all negative. Fear on here. Let me go to Libra. Let me read it. Fear, as in fair, means to bear. Libra are the scales. The scales bear the weight. Fair and bear, they're called bilabials. V, P, PH, F. Those consonants can be interchanged. f, b, f, p. Okay. So back to this. This is showing you one of the other sides of fear. Okay. Because it says the word pair in Old English is fair or fear, which means bull. Stay with me though. Stay with me because the bull is a key point. Key. I got it in bold here. Greek, porous, or pair becomes porous, which means calf. Again, a calf and a bull share a relationship. What's the relationship? Let's read. It's worth paying special attention to the references to bull and calf, as they are both from the bovine animal family. But what did that got to do with the price of tea in China? This is significant because the first Hebrew letter, Aleph, means ox, which is also a member of the bovine family. Okay, we're going to start getting some traction now. So let's backtrack. Bull, calf, ox. They're all bovine. As you have already read because I got this broken down earlier in the booklet. The ox is a symbol for light. The evidence that we're on the right track doesn't stop here. So but wait. You see how the pair tying back to the bull brings us back to the original comparison between the pair and the flame representing light. Okay. When we broke down the etymology of the word pair, it took us back to light through the bull, the calf, the ox, the aleph. It means light, which is fire. For more proof, consider the etymology of the word pair. It can be traced back to the Old English pair, deriving from the Lower Latin para, itself a variation of pyrrha, coinciding with the Greek apios, which means pear tree. Interestingly, set the babies up. Okay, all right. Okay. Again, itself a pyrrha, coinciding with the Greek apios, pear tree. Interestingly, one of the roots for bull is apis. And all of you are probably very familiar with the word Serapis, the name Serapis, which is a Ptolemaic name of Osiris. Well, Serapis is a bull. That's why it says the root for bull is apis. Okay, again, if we take just the consonants, the Greek apios, which means pear tree, and apis, which means bull, get rid of all the vowels and just leave the consonants, what we got? PS, puss, puss. Removing the vowels, both words leave us with the consonant roots of PS, one of the ancient ways of denoting light. So check this out. Your kids might enjoy watching a movie called Puss in Boots. That's a Christ story. It's about a cat, who's like a Zorro character. But this is how people who make these things, they play around with language. The audience never knows what they're really saying. Okay, Puss in Boots. And not to be vulgar, but pussy, that's not a vulgar name for a vagina, because really, from an etymological standpoint, it's saying light. It's a light box. Pussy. Puss. Puss, because it's a bilabial, becomes bus. Bus is best. the Egyptian goddess, Bes, Baset, Bes. In Arabic, bus means kiss. In Spanish, bes is kiss. And you see this is this interplay of language. So kiss coincides with the word oracle. Jesus kissed such and such. It is delivering light. That's the true symbolic meaning of a kiss. It is to transmute light from one to another. It's oracleizing. Okay? Bus, puss. All right, stay with me. The greatest task of the parent, that's what this section is called. In my opinion, the greatest task facing any parent is to teach and instill a feeling of value and self-esteem into a child. After all, most maladapted adults are simply children who were harmed, bruised, and hurt and never recovered from the scars. What do many of the problems in the world center around? Spoiled fruit and extinguished fire. Many adults are the products of activities or situations that occurred in their early years that ruined a portion of their soul, which is fire. Thus, for many, if you look into their eyes, you either see a dimly lit or fully extinguished fire. In the midst of teaching and instilling self-esteem into a child, the parent is also displaying love. This, however, is not to be misconstrued with promoting base egoism, which is a complete opposite. Actually, toxic egoism is what is prominent in the world. The internet is a cesspool for it. It is perceived as cool to be rude, loud, abrasive, brash, braggadocious, and unkind. These are all the types of behaviors that hurt children who become unhealed adults display. Let me read that again. These are all the types of behaviors that hurt children, as in children who were hurt and who become unhealed adults display. There is a reason that a child enters the school years through the grade of kindergarten. It's supposed to represent the garden where the seed fire is kindled and nurtured. Kinder is kindle. The word kindle means fire. And from kindle, we get the word kind. Being kind is not about some Mary Poppins, oh, run all over me, do as thou wilt with me, put your foot, whatever. That's not what it is. Kindness is not weakness, not by a long shot. Kindness is the exact opposite. Listen to what I wrote. The idea of being kind is simple and mundane, right? That's what I wrote. Well, yes, it is. It shows that one possesses a fire, and it's the ultimate display of confidence. Check that. Check that. I can be basically kind because I'm so confident in myself. I don't have to try to ice grill you. I don't have to cut you down because I know I can defend myself and possibly can do a lot of harm. So it's not out of fear, and it's not because I need to be accepted. I'm just saying this is in general, speaking the kind mind. Because some of the worst people to get on the bad side of is kind people. Because kind means fire. They do have a fire. So if you turn on a gas burner, it will burn you. Okay? But listen to what else I wrote. Unkind people are those whose light or self-esteem was extinguished a long time ago. Capricorn has brought all of this to the fore. The girls are planning girl nights with tents. Our imagination. See, that's Christ child type activity. That's right. Capricorn, through the crushing restriction of it, is bringing all this stuff out. Look how people acting. Look how desperate people getting for money. You know? Okay, let's keep going. Now let's look at the compound word of self-esteem. Self, from the root swa, S-U-E, means personal relations, one's own, his, hers, its, hence a group as a unit. From this root family derives the word swami, which means one's own master. All right. Another root is Tim. The Tim is the root for the word esteem. Okay, it has two roots within it though. First is Aos, A-I-O-S. It means metal, ore, copper, bronze, from cutting the ore. Okay, Tim means cut. Tomas, a cut piece. Now listen to this. Remember, self means basically one's own master. Esteem means a cut piece, as in metal. Check this out. God bless C. Freeman L. The reference to cutting metal, copper, bronze, etc., brings to our attention the passage in 1 Kings 7:13-14. Okay, check this out. It starts in verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. 14. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass, and he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his work. All of us should be looking to parent a Hiram, a child who can perform the finished work, who can build a temple of Solomon. Shalom, Islam, Salam, Hotep, which is peace. Hiram Hiram was a worker in brass. His father was a worker in brass. Self-esteem, because it means to become one's own master and to work metal, which brass is a metal. Self-esteem is not just about, hey, you somebody. It is about teaching the child how to work itself, to go from Old Testament to New Testament, because can I tell you right now, with all the books and all that blah 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 and all of the studying and experimenting and whatever, you know what a lot of I'm leaning on? A lot of Henry Robinson, because self-esteem was drilled from an early age. And when you're in times like these, where you might see your image being defiled, you're constantly being threatened, by this is coming at you, that's coming at you, so forth. You're being fed all types of this and that. What's really left is what's really left at the core is all that remains. The fire, that fire or that worked piece of metal is all that's left. And self-esteem is really teaching, it's teaching craftsmanship. I don't know if that may, Nia said, what book are that's from my booklet. It's on my site. Something new I just put out. Final section. I think this is the final. Oh shit, this shit long. Hold on, I'm almost done. Final, the virus, a threat and opportunity. As a parent, I'm aware of the ridiculous strain and stress that schools are placing children under with the virtual learning format. Children, at least in my children's district, are expected to sit on a computer for hours locked inside a house. Then they are given loads of homework that must be completed by 11:59 the same night. The message is obvious here that children are not to have a life. Furthermore, this type of force feeding of facts and figures by no means represents learning. Is this, that's a mistake, is this an attempt to put their fires out? I'd say the answer is rather obvious. On top of this, children's minds are being bombarded with fear, on the shadow side of fear, all across social media and on television. Metaphysically, the shadow side of fear is that it is debilitating and crippling. It seems that this generation of children are under a special attack, one that is unlike any we've ever seen before. This brings to mind the scriptures that begin in Matthew 2:1-7. They read, "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod," damn, another mistake, "the king, behold, there came wise men from the east of Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared." What time the star appeared. Check this out. When we move ahead to verse 16, the story details how King Herod, now I'm breaking down here the word Herod. Herod equals hero, which coincides with Horus. But Horus, one of the meanings of Horus is hour. I know we got Horus means face, the great face. Remember, a word has many faces. Okay. Horus also means hour. So it says in verse 16, it says that King Herod is angry. In his pursuit of the Christ child, he discovers that he has been tricked. Thus, he issues an edict to kill, quote, all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men, end quote. Check this out. I submit that it is not by happenstance that the king's name is Herod, for it could be argued that this name is a code for the word hour or horo, as in horoscope. Peace, Melissa. Peace, wise feminine. The word horoscope is in before Cartesian medicine and science came, mechanical science in the 17th century, which is the 1600s. The horoscope was just as valuable as our modern telescope and microscope, because there was no separation between metaphysics and science. Metaphysics was science. There is no separation between astrology and astronomy. All those things happened after the 1600s or during the 1600s, okay? So I said hour or horo as in horoscope. This would obviously be a reference to astrology. It's also worth noting that King Herod questioned his wise men in regard to the time, hour, which the star signaling the birth of Christ appeared. These facets of the story are particularly relevant to the times we currently live in. Okay, dig in a little deeper. In the accepted year of 2020, the astrological sign that has been the centerpiece of all the drama that has unfolded is Capricorn. Okay? If you don't know, we had a grand stellium. We had Venus, Mercury, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, all in Capricorn, starting off the year. 5 planets, grand stellium. Okay. The year started with the grand stellium involving, I'm repeating myself. The year started with the grand stellium involving 5 planets: Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, Mercury, and Venus. Because all of these planets convened in the sign of Capricorn, we can say that it is the prevailing energy of the year. Thus, we should take a moment to look at what is represented. Some of the words that can be associated with Capricorn are stability, steadiness, dedication, rigidity, structure, control, governance, power, and many other descriptive words. Some of the more shadowy qualities of the sign we see displayed by King Herod. King Herod is Capricorn in the story, as he seeks to prevent, stifle, and snuff out the Christ energy. As humanity stands on the cusp of the age of Aquarius, where man has the ability to know the truths of existence, both simple and complex, without having to work through a middleman, we see the negative aspects of the Capricorn archetype on full display. Y'all with me still? The Christ child that is to be born is an essence that already lay dormant inside every human. It is the soul. Each person who possesses this hidden potential through his or her humanity acts as both Joseph and Mary, the parents of the Messiah. No longer is man relying upon an intercessor or go-between. Furthermore, there is no longer a need to invest in beliefs. Man now has the tools available to know thyself. However, just as is represented in the biblical narrative of the birth of Christ, Herod will not give up without a fight. In our present time, he is using every resource at his disposal to distract, interrupt, induce fear, and handicap the evolutionary process that Earth and its inhabitants are cosmically slated to undergo. Understanding the nature of this threat, as we consider some of the mythological stories that have been left for us, we can gain clearer picture of the times we live in. For example, a portion of the Egyptian mythos teaches that Isis and Osiris taught man how to cultivate wheat. In the section titled Numerology, in this booklet, I explain how the word wheat coincides with the word thing. The passage states that thing can be traced back to the word victory, the primary root of which is white, as in brave. The root white further traces back to the Old Norse veit, fighting fit, and vencer, to overcome in battle. This further leads to a tree of connecting words: victory, white, thing, casa, koso, saka, sake. The latter is where we derive the word sacrifice. Are y'all with me? We just connected white, victory, white, thing, casa, kosa, saka, sake, sacrifice, all a line of words that tie into each other. Every functional and responsible parent knows it requires great sacrifice to raise a child. This truth extends beyond the mundane level of rearing children, though. This is an all-encompassing reality. We have arrived at a peculiar timeline in human history where great sacrifice is required to bring the light forward that has been hidden in darkness. Just as a baby is nurtured in the depravity of light while existing in his or her mother's womb until the time of birth, so is man. Now it is time for the water bearer to empty the pitcher of water. Birth. Specifically speaking to the mundane activity of raising children, though, The fact that public schools have virtually thrown their hands up in many districts, this is an opportunity for mothers and fathers to perform their best rendition of Mary and Joseph. This does not exclude single parents, whether male or female. Now is when each person will have to stretch to become more of what may have previously been perceived possible, more than what. Parents are challenged to think and act creatively, intuitively, and intelligently. It shouldn't be overlooked that, as cliche as it may sound, the children are the future. The bottom line is this: most adults are a lost cause in this lifetime. Let me read this shit again. Most adults are a lost cause in this lifetime. That's right, I said it and I meant it. The average adult mentally and spiritually died a long time ago, and they're just hanging around Earth waiting for the physical death. With children, there is an opportunity to plant seeds with the hope and expectation of them eventually growing into tall and strong oak trees. Again, this harkens back to the Egyptian mythos relating that Isis and Osiris taught the cultivation of crops. The metaphorical link between plants and children hinges on the word legacy, which coincides with another important word, legend. We got somebody here that call himself legendary. That name is legendary. Let's be honest. All of us want to have a legendary existence and to leave behind a strong and positive legacy. Through developing our own internal Christ or fire and externally kindling and cultivating the fire in our children, I submit that we are doing the great work. That's the addendum that I'm adding to this booklet, and this is called Parenting. This is a small, thin little booklet that is packed. Sometimes some of the best stuff I got is the thinnest. I got a book that's 44 pages, and I have not been able to finish reading it yet. And this is going to be, in my humble opinion, this little booklet I put together is of that caliber. Okay. To go along with the booklet that I've created, I have created these 5 little handouts. This is the first of a series. I'm going to be doing these in infinitude. These are little handouts. These are learning tools. The time is over for talking at folk. The time is now we become master students and we share. So these are keys to learning symbolism. Just look close at this. All the stuff around you is talking to you. The tree is talking to you. And I'm using etymology, which is, what I did. I deal with a lot to break down. Look, the leaf, the branch, the soil, the root, the trunk. Turn around, look at, you got the you got the solar cross. Breaking it down in a way you may have never seen. The swastika, Thor's axe. But the first piece to this is the most important to me because it's the crux. It's available now, Wise Feminine. You go to mastersofthecosmos.com, you click on Master Students. Whoa, that's it. Frederick Douglass. All right, Gosetti. Let me read this. Gosetti just put, quote, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men," end quote. Hey, what does that come out of? Which one of is that his autobiography? Or please share if you don't. I know, we know you can Google it, but if you know off the top of your head, that's a powerful quote. This is the crux, etymology. And that's why I gave it the title, Etymology, a Master Key to the Mysteries of It All. Okay. What I did here is, on the front side, I explain what etymology is. I got a section called The Power of the Tongue, Etymology and the Tower of Babel, the connection between the tree, truth, three, and etymology. Etymology of the word etymology. Key biblical references to trees and Christ. Ain't it funny? Christ is born in a wooden stable. Mother married to a carpenter who works wood. He's crowned with thorns, wood. Crucified on the cross, wood. He's referred to as the Logos. The root of Logos is log, wood. See, before you throw the Bible away and be like, oh, look, let me tell you something. Symbolism, once you start learning how to decode symbols, you don't throw away anything. Everything is your mastery, okay? So this little section is a teaser for this one, the tree in life. Because when I mentioned all the wood that's referenced in the Bible, then you naturally go here to the source of wood, which is the tree. And then you're going to get why it's so significant. Why is the middle of the tree in astrology? This is Taurus. This is the Taurus field right here, which is the root of Tesla's science and everything, Taurus field, because it's an energy grid. Tell this thing is, I gotta be honest, I'm proud of myself on this because it's something I always wanted. I broke down on the astrology. You ever had anybody do the etymology on astrology? If nothing else, you got to see this etymology of the elements. Check this out. The word earth, Middle English, earth, Old English, Artha, Old Frisian, blah, blah, blah. What it ends up breaking down to, by the time you get to Middle Dutch, the word earth is Aard, A-E-R-D. Then it's A-E-R-T. Then it becomes A-R-D, Ard. And then Ard becomes art, A-R-T. The bottom of the tree of life in Kabbalah is Malkuth, is earth. What is the purpose of coming to earth? It's art. The word art is hidden in the word earth. Look at this. Look at the bottom. The word art is hidden in the word earth. We come here for art because art is what? It is creation. It is God-like to create. See, that's little stuff hidden, just hidden, we got the etymology of every sign, okay? Like Aries comes from E-R. Moses was, Abraham was from where? Of Chaldea. Even though is spelled U-R, when you remove the vowels are interchangeable. Whether it's U-R, A-R, E-R, it's still all the same. Okay. We know Aries is a fire sign, right? Well, the word the root, separation, hence a network, apart and frequent. That's talking about a light that separates, as in a spark. Okay. The word era. Let's look at the word era, for example. Aries comes from E-R, and E-R helps us form the word era. But just the only significant letter in that word is this, R. But what's crazy about the letter R is when you pronounce it, what sound are you making? R. R is really this, R. And again, so even if you remove the error and just say the letter R, you still got error there, R. And if you carry the R out, R, you got the on the end. R is error. And what is it? Fire. What we are experiencing, even though Capricorn is considered a cold month sign, it's a 10th sign, and Capricorn is associated with winter. Capricorn, with its rigidity, is talking about fire. What we are experiencing right now is we ain't got to wait to Aries for fire. Capricorn is fire. If you know anything about your car, it takes friction to slow your car down. Your brake pad has to clamp down. That clamping down creates heat. That's fire. To stop your car takes fire. For your engine to crank up takes combustion, fire. So an era is the fire that happened to slow down movement and stop it, and then the fire necessary to create combustion to move. What we are feeling right now is the end of an era. It's fire. Capricorn is fire. When anything, the rigidity is it's slowing down, and we're about to take back off. When I was trying to realize that every single thing on earth is or has been behind it, and all repeat from something from different years, cycles. That's right. That's right. That's right. Then, while we on fire, we got a whole handout on fire. An esoteric look. I've been working on these things for months. I'm not trying to just push something. These are they dope. They dope. It's because for the way I learn, most of us still learn like children. You have you see something, if you can read it, and if you got visuals to go along with it too, and it's tangible, you can touch it. I wonder what connection the age of Aquarius has with the flood in the Bible. Well, that's a great question. I tell you what, Cam said, Jamal, real quick, what do we get from Masters of the Cosmos? Oh, shit, I'm typing on the. Get over here. I'm putting in the chat, Masters of the Cosmos.com, and the link. Why did I do it that way? Let me do it like this. Making it hard. Go to this page. This is where you can find the booklet and you can find these little handouts. But Melissa posed a great question. I wonder what connection. No doubt. Thank you, Cam. Given that those stories are not linear, you know what? The flood could be talking about right now. We always think that these stories are sometime way back, but it's very possible because if the water barrier empties out the pitcher, there's going to be an overflow of water, right? And cause a flooding. But we see there's reference to someone who was preparing, the character of Noah, right? Noah's preparing. An ark comes back again to fire. Ark. Anytime there's an air, that's fire. And ark also means first, as an archetype, first fire. So there's the ark could be representing the fire, as in the at the I Ching. I don't remember which one that is. Where it's the trigram of water, and it has two streams of water, but the fire is in between those streams. That's heavy. I hadn't made that connection, but I think it's very possible. Lady Al says flooding everywhere, and California is about to, yeah. It's very. I got something to come back to, because I was watching PBS one day, and they showed the woman was in Salem, Oregon, and we're gonna have another broadcast on that. Salem, Oregon, because astrologically, everything is going down with an interaction between Pluto and Saturn, are two main characters and everything unfolding. When the Salem witch trials began in 16, they really got hot and heavy. 16. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all joining with me. You go over to mastersofthecosmos.com/master students. And if you want to edify yourself, you can get a copy of all the stuff I've talked about. You can get my booklet. You can get my my handouts here. And I promise you that if you sit with these, these will unfold. These will unfold for years to come. What's in this? But some people are saying I'm buffering. You know how that go. But I'm gonna stop it right here. And I want to thank everybody for joining in and just say, hey, you know, not to sound cliche, but when I was a little kid, you know, my mom would get off the phone with somebody like, keep your chin up. But keep your head up and don't let all the riffraff engulf you. Tunnel vision. See where you're going. Know who you are. Know what you are. You know what I'm saying? And keep pushing ahead. All right. And as always, stay down till you get up. Get up. Stay down. Peace. I see you, low key. Peace, brother. Peace. Everybody.